The first technique is super useful because you can use it to fill in gaps in your music that feels rather empty. Now, the way that I first learned this technique was by listening to indie rock.
House music.
You get this effect. And you can hear that in a lot of indie songs. And, so pan it left and right and do crazy stuff with it. But that effect, you can hear it in a lot of indie rock songs. So one of the things that I like to do in my house tracks is do that technique, but not use the space echo, but use something different. So the way that you're going to set this up is you're going to hold Control, left click, and you're going to insert a return track. In this return track, call it your delay throw or whatever you want to name it. Add your echo. For this tutorial, I will be using the echo from Ableton. I'm staying loyal to the GOAT, best DAW in the world. We can debate about it in the chat. I welcome it. Hit me a comment there. So we're going to run that at 100% because when we use return tracks, pretty much what we're doing is, let's say here, this is our vocal. Our vocal is going into this vocal group and to the main or to the master. But when we create a return track, we're creating like pretty much a parallel universe, a multiverse. So we're splitting away. And now that vocal is still being ran through the same routing, but now another piece of it is going into the multiverse. And in that multiverse, it's being hit with some echo. And then that echo is being produced on this channel over here. And this channel will go to the main. Okay, so you have two channels going to the main now when you activate this. Keep that in mind. So now I'm going to use this guy to send part of the vocal, which is saying house music. There. Okay, now the reason I want to use a return for this is because if you've ever used echo as an insert, that means on the channel at the bottom, then you know that it can get messy and you can't really pick what syllable or what phrase or word you want repeated. I'm going to control click here. I'm going to show automations. I'm going to choose to go music, and that music is going to get filtered in. We're going to send the audio just for that split second there. So now we have it here. Okay, now I got the music. Now, with an echo, we're going to do is increase our feedback to around 98. So it repeats a lot. And then our rate to notes. Let's set that to 1/4 and see how it sounds. And then we're going to filter it a bit. And let's see how it goes here. It's fading into the abyss. And it's still going. So this is where you might automate this channel turning off as well after the drop, which would be over here. Okay, from here now I can decide between a lot of stuff, right? I can add reverb to that. This filter as well, I can move it back more and cut the highs more. Now the reason I would do that is because if I'm trying to create depth, right? I want to hear the song and I want to hear this more in the back, then I have to use the laws of nature. As a human, how do you know that someone's leaving the room if you have your eyes closed? The voice changes, the timbre of the voice, the characteristics, the way it sounds, right? Sometimes there's more reverb. Sometimes the highs start to get numb. The voice starts to get thinner, etc. So we need to create that illusion in the DAW. So we do that by chopping off some lows and some highs. I'm more of a highs type of guy, so I'm gonna put that there, a little there. You know what I mean? Now we get that. Perfecto, babe. Sick. And with a little bit of effort and just playing around with that, you can develop a lot of really cool stuff that you can call your own besides the basic ping pong echo, right? Last thing I'll add here is you can also move this guy like this. Now, if you're adding this, I consider you an advanced producer because you are aware of your stereo image. And if you don't know what that is, then go Google it because we ain't going to talk about it here. The video will be too long. So we're just going to increase that to make the echo be wide on the sides more. And now it's there.
Here comes music to set your soul on fire.
Now we do cocaine. or, you know, do a squat or whatever. I like to do squats. Cool. Now, creating a return channel brings me to the next advanced echo tip. And that is the fact that when you create a return, you're creating a new sound source that's created from the original vocal saying house music, right? So in that channel, you can process the echo without processing the vocal. These techniques I'm about to show you might sound weird with the vocal, might not work in this song, but think outside the box. It can work with synths, it can work with effects, and it can work in different genres. For example, one of the techniques I like to use a lot in my music, just to show off, is a redux echo combination. The sound, house music, suck, 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 it's gonna say suck, 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 right? If we lower the redux, music, you create that Bitcrushed effect, right? So when done right, you can create an effect that sounds like the vocals disintegrating. You know, like when, forget Wanda, you know, in Marvel Rivals comes in with her ult and decimates everyone. Or like when Thanos snaps the fingers and everyone crumbles into little bit rates. Kind of like that, you know? So we can lower the redux here. Music. And we get that. Now, if I make it more of a once force, okay, so you can do a redux. We can add an alter boy. And this alter boy is, because we can pitch the effect up or down an octave, or if you want to be super advanced, I think at this point, beyond advanced is hippie or hipster. You know, you have to make sure that's totally different, then you can go with a seventh. Music. Oh, shit. Music.
Here comes music to set your soul on fire.
So catchy, man. All right, minus 12. Music. And pitch it down. Pitch it up. Music. Become a hippie, or sorry, a hipster. Pay $10 for coffee instead of going to Starbucks for $6. Music.
Here comes
you can do cool stuff.
To set your soul on fire.
You gotta jam out to your music, because if you don't do it, no one else will, man. So this next technique is a metallic effect that you can do with any delay. And the way it works is you're gonna set your delay to time-based instead of sync, okay? Time. Now we're playing with milliseconds. What we want is somewhere between 5 to 100 milliseconds and a very high feedback repetition. What this will do is, since the repetition is happening at such a fast rate, you start to get a metallic effect, which you guys can tell me what it's doing in the comments, because I don't know. I was going to say comb filtering or phasing out or flanging out, but this is what happens. You get this metallic effect. Now, if you play the saw at lower octaves, it usually sounds a lot more ABAB, as balling as possible. So I can create a bit of width as well by doing this, just shifting the tiny bit. Okay. Now this technique will work best with Evil Sound drum and bass presets, which you can find at evilsounds.com, used by some of the best. If I go into a new pack I'm working on and we start going through these bass lines as I play this. Now if I allow the filter to open up, get a ping pong effect. Now. And if you can tell, in exchange for power and upfrontness, you get the effect. So keep that in. And now the next one I'm teaching you is what I would call a slap delay. And when I first heard this, I heard it in a Sonderling song, who are really dope producers. And the way they use it is in combination with a very tight lead. Because if you use a very tight lead, then you put this echo, you get this slap like delay, which just means that it's very close to the sound. And you can hear how it's just like, boop, boop, boop. It's like very eerie. Like so. The other cool thing is if you go lower values, just gonna bring this down. And let's shift the right just a tiny bit. Get this effect. And like you dial it in even further. That is sick. Now if we go in the ARP and set the steps up and go hella high, you get really, really cool effects out of that. And then you still have the filter to play with. So we can create the lo-fi delay. Is when we are in time, right? We have this beautiful sound. That delay sounds kind of cool, but it sounds too intermediate. It's just advanced, right? So one thing I can do is go into the modulation section and do the lo-fi effect, which many people buy RC20 for, which in essence, echo is time-based. So you already have frequencies, right? Frequency is how long it takes for a wave to go through its full form. So for instance, this saw, how long does it take to do its wave cycle? The higher you go, the faster it does it. And the lower you are, the slower it does it. So time controls pitch. A bit of modulation on the delay here. This is applying an LFO, which is a knob turner, to this guy. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So with pitch, if you do it just slight, you know, with finesse, Roger Federer instead of Nadal, that's what I would say. Smooth instead of brunt. Little more. Let's go a little faster. There it is. It's presenting itself. Okay, now if I get rid of it, we're at 28%. Let's go 30 this time. We're sounding like Rufus the Soul now. So now let's add the lead up, the sustain. Get rid of it. That is the difference, right? This lo-fi delay just sounds delicious, as you can see. Now it's time to sound goofy or funky or whatever you call the tech house stuff, which I make. If you modulate this, put a high feedback. Let's say I do something like, if I go up, higher time, I'm gonna go back. I can create a pitch. I have a customer effect, right? For life. So as a sound designer, that's my thought process whenever I'm always looking sounds out for you guys. I'm trying to make cool sounds so that you make the best music. I'll do to as I say, if you make bangers for the right genre. Audio 2, I will resample. I will record. Okay, I'm gonna hold command click here. And now I'm gonna do this effect real quick. I'm gonna record. Bust my earlobes. Damn. Oh man, that was insane, right? But now I have an uplifter. And again, you don't have to do this with a brash synth like that. You can do it with a vocal. You could do it with anything, really. I made a video like this a while back. And in that video, someone said, oh, I want to learn how to change the pitch or change the rate without changing the pitch. So if you're trying to do that, you find that here in the repitch. So in character, it's going to be found here. You turn that off. Whoops. Then you don't get that repitch or pitch effect. So if you have a high feedback to do that, dee 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 dee. You can do a cool effect like that. Ghost percussion is the next technique, and this is going to be a technique that involves a delay, an EQ, a reverb, and a heavy sidechain to the kick. Now in the right track, this effect will do wonders and bring life. In the wrong track, it can cause issues. All my percussion into that track, this is what happens. I create new rhythmic material for the song. Right now I'm doing it the lazy way where I'm routing all of the drums there. However, the right way of using this would be to go into your drums individually and route them in there. Now I would route stuff like shakers, snare hits that aren't always hitting, percussive elements, not the clap, not the open hat, because I don't need that to delay out. But other stuff that's just kind of like percussive in nature, supplemental, we can route it into that channel.
Moving to the sound of the
to create stuff like this, which we then can EQ. For this next effect, you're going to grab an echo and you're going to route it to your synth, stab, or vocal of choice. Get a good rhythm that you like. Once you have something you like, you can right click and freeze the track, and now you can create a reverse delay for this to introduce the sound. It's a very interesting way of introducing something, so reverse delay. This next technique is similar to one we did, but it's going to sound a little better because it's easier to set up. You're going to grab a grain delay from Ableton, and you're going to set the pitch on it to 7. You're going to lower down this frequency that's up by default, and then you're going to have a high feedback. We're going to move the strand width down. So now when we play a note, the delay you get, it's going to be a set perfect 7th, which is very harmonic. But you can also do this with a 3rd. And if we lower the feedback just a bit more, we can go 12. To create these really crazy glitch effects. Increase the feedback. If you grab a percussive shot and you have a delay that's very close together, similar to the metallic one, we can create now a dub delay effect that you hear a lot in some techno, old school techno tracks. So those are some advanced echo techniques that you can start using on your music today. I hope that you find use for them. These techniques are really good, by the way, when you have something very simple that you're just trying to make sound complex, and you make it sound complex with these crazy delay techniques. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you find it useful. And if you want to support the channel, you can head over to evilsounds.com. You can find a lot of my sound design work for dance music. That being said, you guys take care, and I'll see you guys next time.